Before we start, I have one small request. If you're new here, please subscribe to the channel, and don't forget to like and share this video with your friends. Also, tell me where you're from and what time you're watching this video. I always love seeing where everyone's tuning in from. Your support means a lot. It helps me keep bringing you more real horror stories. Alright, let's begin tonight's story. My son Alex has always drawn the strangest friends to him. I do not know why, but from the time he was little, he seemed to attract the oddest kids. I have many stories about this, but one still stands out above the rest. He was in 4th grade and we had just moved because of my husband's new job. Alex was the new kid at school, but he had always been friendly and outgoing, so my husband and I were not worried about him making friends. Everything was going well. I was happy. The first time I met the parents of Alex's classmates, they all seemed like normal, honest people. A few months after the move, I got a call from the school in the middle of the day. They asked if a parent could come in to talk about something that had happened between Alex and another student. My husband was at work, so I went. I remember feeling angry and confused. Angry because I thought my son might have been in a fight, and I would have to punish him if he started it. Confused because Alex never acted that way. Fighting was not like him at all. As we walked to the principal's office, Alex would not answer any of my questions. That was also strange. He was usually very talkative and told me everything. His silence worried me. I thought he was just scared or ashamed. The principal asked Alex to wait outside. Then he started asking me the usual questions. How does Alex act at home? Does he listen? Does he talk back? Is he respectful? I only had good things to say. Alex was a very well-behaved and polite boy. That was the simple truth. Finally, the principal told me what happened. After recess, Alex and a boy named Leo were the last 2 kids outside. As they walked up the stairs together, Alex suddenly took an eraser from his pocket and hit Leo on the head with it. Leo fell down and started screaming. I was shocked. That did not sound like Alex at all. And Alex had talked about Leo before. He liked him. They were friends. I asked more questions, but the principal did not know much. No one had seen it happen. Both boys told the same story on their own. He said Alex was not in trouble. Little fights happen sometimes. He just wanted me to know. That calmed me down. When we left, Alex stayed quiet all the way home. Only right before bed did he finally talk. He said Leo had tricked him. They were playing pretend Street Fighter. Leo told Alex to hit him with the eraser for a special move. Then Leo fell down and acted hurt. He whispered to Alex that he would really hurt him if Alex did not say he had started the fight. So Alex did what Leo said. I was angry. My little boy had been scared and forced to take the blame. That night, I looked up Leo's mom in the school directory and called her. Her name was Maria. She sounded very sweet and honest on the phone. She already knew what happened. Leo had told her the truth, and she had punished him. She said Leo had always had some small behavior problems. Sometimes he acted like a completely different person. The more she talked, the more I felt sorry for him. It sounded like he could not always control himself. Maria suggested the boys have a sleepover to make up and become better friends. I thought that was a nice idea. She offered to host. That weekend, I drove Alex to her house. He was excited and talking the whole way. Maria welcomed me in. We sat and talked over some wine while the boys played in the basement. She seemed like a really good person. I liked her. Time passed quickly. Before I left, I asked about Leo's behavior. Her face changed. She spoke more quietly. She said Leo had trouble making friends. He had seen a few doctors. They thought he would grow out of it. She said he was getting better, and being more social at school was a good sign. She promised Alex would be safe. Leo had never been violent, just strange sometimes. That was enough for me. When it was time to go, I went downstairs to say goodbye. The boys were laughing and playing a board game. They looked happy. The next morning, I went to pick Alex up. He was waiting by the door with his bag and a big smile. I thought everything had gone well, but as soon as we drove away, he started crying hard. I asked what was wrong. What he told me made my blood run cold. He said everything was fine until bedtime. They had air mattresses side by side in the basement. At some point in the night, Alex woke up. He heard whispering from the bathroom. The door was open a little, and there was a strange flickering light inside, like candlelight. It was Leo talking, but not normal talking. He was having a full conversation with himself in the mirror, and he was not calling himself Leo, he was calling himself Mr. Vance. Then the light went out. Everything was dark. Alex closed his eyes and pretended to sleep. A long time later, he heard the bathroom door open slowly. Then whispering started again, right over him. It went on for a while. It did not even sound like English. Alex lay there too scared to move. Finally, Leo went back to his bed like nothing had happened. In the morning, Leo acted completely normal. Alex was too afraid to say anything. When Alex told me this, I was terrified. This was not just a kid's imagination. Something was very wrong. I called Maria right away. At first, she laughed and said Leo had always been creative. But when I kept asking, her voice changed. Finally, she admitted the problems were more serious than she had said. One doctor had even suggested Leo might have multiple personality disorder. She told me they had already moved twice before because Leo had been kicked out of school. I was shocked and angry. Why had she not told me this before, putting my son in danger? Then she begged me not to tell the school. I did not know what to say. Part of me wanted to help her. Part of me knew this was too dangerous. I said okay and hung up fast. I told myself I would decide what to do by the end of the week. I never got the chance. That Monday, Leo attacked another student at recess. It was bad enough that the school sent a letter to all parents. By the end of the day, Leo had been expelled. I tried calling Maria, but her phone was disconnected. Days later, I drove to her house. It was empty, no moving truck, no signs, anyone had been there, just gone. I searched online for any trace of them. Nothing, no new address, no record. Like they had never existed. That was a long time ago. Alex was not hurt too badly by it. He has mostly forgotten. I have not. I still think about what might have happened to my son that night in the basement and what that boy Leo has been doing since. I grew up in an unusual home. We were Southern Baptist, the kind who did not believe in ghosts but were completely sure that evil spirits were real. If something strange happened, it was never a lost soul. It was something darker, something from the Bible. I never fully bought into that view, but it was drilled into me from the time I was small. To doubt demons was to doubt the Bible itself. My mother was different. Faith was not a big deal to her. She was not atheist or agnostic. She just did not care. When I asked why she never went to church, she would smile and say, "God and I have an understanding." I leaned on religion for comfort and rules. She pulled farther away. That was one of many things that kept us apart. I will not pretend otherwise. My mother fought addiction and mental illness. She always turned down help. Some days she was fine, other days she was completely out of control. I tried not to take it personally, but it was hard. Looking back, I am almost certain she had schizophrenia, or something close to it. But please do not judge my family. It was a different time. One afternoon, I had a nightmare so real that I still remember every second. In the dream, I was lying in bed when my mother burst into my room. She was screaming with rage, grabbed my wrist and shook me hard. I woke up, soaked in sweat, heart racing. Before I could calm down, the door flew open. There she was, exactly like in the dream. Same wild eyes, same angry words. It felt like the dream had warned me. I managed to push her away and yell for her to stop. Then, just as fast as it started, she left. The next morning, she remembered nothing. She looked confused and a little hurt that I was so upset. I told myself it was just a strange coincidence, my mind mixing with her moods. But a small part of me wondered if it was something worse. A few weeks later, I heard her screaming in the backyard. It was not a scared scream. It sounded almost excited. I ran outside and froze. My mother stood in the yard grinning, holding a huge 7-foot snake with her bare hands. That alone was terrifying. But there is something you need to know that made it worse. My mother was deathly afraid of snakes. She could not even look at one on TV. Yet there she was, holding it like a pet. "Come here," she said, waving the snake toward me. I stepped back, shaking my head. "Mom, what are you doing?" The look in her eyes was like she wanted to scare me. I could not take it. I turned and ran inside, slamming the door. From the window, I watched her stand there holding the snake up like an offering. Finally, she let it slide to the ground and walked back in as if nothing had happened. When I asked her about it later, she acted like I had made it up. She said I must have had a bad dream. That was nothing compared to what came next. That winter, my church held an overnight youth event. It was my safe place, full of normal, predictable people. My mother dropped me off completely sober. She even kissed my forehead before driving away. At about 4:30 a.m., just as we were falling asleep loud, knocking started all around the building. We sat up looking at each other. The knocking moved in a way that made no sense, sometimes from several sides at once. It was steady, always the same rhythm, always the same volume. It was not the wind, it was not the building settling. It was too perfect. When I realized it would not stop, I knew I had to check. I walked into the hallway, and there she was. My mother standing outside barefoot in the freezing cold, soaked with sweat. Her clothes were messy, her hair wet, her lips were moving, but no sound came out. She looked straight at me and smiled a slow, creepy smile. I wanted to run. The pastor tried to hold me back, whispering, "Stay here." But I felt pulled. I had no choice. I walked to the car and got in. The drive home was silent. She never spoke, never explained. When we got home, she stopped in the doorway and just stared at me. I locked myself in my room and lay awake for hours, listening. The next morning, she was in the kitchen making breakfast, cheerful as ever. She jumped when she saw me and said she was just about to pick me up from the church. She had no memory of the night. I waited for someone at church to say something. No one did. That was how people treated my mom back then. That was decades ago. She is gone now, but those memories never leave me. I do not know if I believe in evil spirits anymore. I want to say it was just mental illness, maybe drugs, maybe something else. But the perfect timing, the missing memories, the way she sometimes seemed like a completely different person, it still haunts me. I tell myself there is a simple answer. Even now, I'm not sure I believe it. My oldest son started sleepwalking when he was about 8 or 9 years old. I had heard of kids going through that, so at first I was not too worried. It was a little strange, sure, but nothing I thought about too much. I am a very light sleeper, so none of my kids have ever been able to walk around the house at night without me knowing. That is actually how I first noticed it. Most nights I would wake up and find him standing in the hallway outside my bedroom. He walked a little on his heels, shifting his weight from foot to foot. His eyes were open, but he was not really seeing anything. That part always got to me. If you have ever lived with a sleepwalker, you know exactly what I mean. His stare went right through me, empty and far away, like he was looking at something behind me that I could not see. It was always very creepy, and I never got used to it. Sometimes he would whisper something too soft to understand. Other times he just stood there, breathing slow and steady, which somehow made it worse. I would gently guide him back to bed, whispering his name, telling him everything was okay. He never remembered any of it in the morning. Things got stranger a few months later. One night I woke up to a steady tapping sound. It sounded like water dripping on a window. Only it was not raining. It was soft, just loud enough to wake me. At first I thought I was still half dreaming, but the sound kept going, steady and on purpose. It was not random like rain. It came at the same speed and the same volume every time. I lay there trying to figure it out. It was not the house settling. It was not the wind. It was too perfect. When I realized it was not going to stop, I knew I had to check. I sat up and looked toward the door. That is where the sound was coming from. My husband was sound asleep. I did not want to wake him. I was not scared, just curious. If I had been scared, I would have woken him. I got out of bed and stepped into the hallway. There he was, my son facing the wall, slowly bumping his forehead against it. Tap his fingertips brushed the wall in perfect time with his head, like he was trying to walk straight through it. I whispered his name. He did not react. He just kept pressing forward in that slow, creepy rhythm, like he was testing the wall or trying to push into something that was not there. I stepped closer. Right before I touched him, I stopped. The way he moved sent a real chill through me. I gently put my hand on his shoulder and shook him just enough to pull him out of it. He blinked, stepped back, and let me lead him to bed like nothing had happened. It happened a few more times after that, but not often. I told myself it was just something sleepwalkers do. Maybe his sleeping brain felt the wall and reacted. In time, he outgrew the sleepwalking. The hallway staring and the tapping became a strange little memory I mostly forgot. That is, until my younger son started doing the exact same thing years later. At first I brushed it off. Kids go through phases. Some things run in families. But it was so strange that both of them started around the same age. Then I began to notice the little details that worried me. It was not just that he sleepwalked. It was how he did it. He stood in the hallway, shifting from foot to foot, eyes open but not seeing. He moved the same slow, eerie way his brother had. One night, I woke up to that tapping again. I already knew what I would see. And I was right. There he was, forehead pressed to the exact same spot, knocking against the wall like he was trying to step into something that was not there. Same forehead taps, same light touch of the fingers, same everything. I called his name. Nothing. I touched his shoulder. Nothing. He just kept going, small body, swaying a little, lost somewhere deep. And that is when it hit me. He had never seen his older brother do this. His brother had stopped years before this one was even born. There was no way he could copy it. Yet here he was doing the exact same thing. That thought made me feel sick. After a few tries, I snapped him out of it and took him back to bed. Just like his brother, he outgrew it. No more sleepwalking, no more tapping, no memory of it. For years, I did not think about it. I had almost forgotten the whole thing. But I am telling you this now for a reason. My sons are away at college. The house is much quieter. My husband and I decided to fix the place up. The house is old, and we wanted it to feel new again. New floors, new paints, little updates. We were pulling down old wallpaper when we found something underneath. At first I thought it was just backing paper or a stain, but as we peeled more away, I stopped breathing. It was an old mirror, completely covered over. Someone had hidden it behind the wallpaper on purpose. My first thought was, why cover a mirror instead of taking it down? I felt silly staring at a piece of glass, but I could not shake the feeling that we were not supposed to find it. Then I realized the mirror was in the exact spot on the wall where both my boys had been bumping and tapping all those years ago. The memories came rushing back. There was no way they could have known it was there. They could not see it through the wallpaper, yet both of them, years apart, asleep, had been trying to walk straight into it. I got rid of that mirror the same day. I am still shaken by the whole thing. There has to be a normal explanation, but I cannot think of one.